Just look at these children. So cute, right? Wrong. Think again. These aren't your ordinary kids. They're highly trained elite assassins. They could probably take down a ninja with one hand tied behind their back. And check out the nun of this church. She looks so innocent, doesn't she? Wrong again. Her name is Rachel, and despite looking like she walked out of a supermodel catalog, she's the disciplinarian of this cult's pint-sized killers. Her specialties: disguise, infiltration, and interrogation torture, like a twisted James Bond villain in a nun's habit. But wait, there's more. Meet the mastermind behind it all, the father. This guy has been running an assassin boot camp for toddlers since before they could even walk. Talk about starting them young. But every good story needs a hero, right? In this twisted tale, we had one, a kid who was an expert in everything, once a living legend. Picture a tiny James Bond meets Sherlock Holmes, but one day he vanished into the shadows, pulling a Houdini. Years later, when these sinister folks found out he was still kicking, they decided to target his mother. But why, you ask? Let's find out. Buckle up, folks, it's going to be a wild ride. The story kicks off with a voice dripping with misplaced pride. My kids are good kids. They are angelic children that cannot be found anywhere else in the world. However, not everyone can be a parent. As the words fade, we zoom in on a fat businessman who bellows with all the sincerity of a used car salesman. From today onward, I'll be your dad. Oh, joy. The voiceover continues, almost giddy with excitement. For their special parents, these children have received special education. You will think, special education? Yes, a very special education. Enter the nun, who starts with the cheerful, "Okay, everyone." But in a blink, her face morphs into something out of a horror movie. Enough. It's time to train. And just like that, the adorable, innocent children we saw earlier are now armed to the teeth, ready for battle. Talk about a plot twist. With a disapproving look, the nun snaps at a girl with a runny nose. Ellie, you don't need to make your nose runny like that when you are crying. Oh, how considerate. Then, with a sinister grin, she adds, children who behave too much will make their parents hate them. Ellie, wiping her nose like a pro, responds, yes, I will keep that in mind. From the shadows, the cult leader, a man who seems to be taking creepy to a whole new level, watches and muses. It's a kind of gifted education. Those kids were raised to be weapons as soon as they started walking. They have been thoroughly nurtured under a special discipline officer, even though the cost of each item they use for training is ridiculously expensive. You will think, what do you use these kids for? With a smile that could melt ice or freeze it solid, the cult leader continues, these kids are like computers. It's up to their buyer or parents as to what they will use them for. As he speaks, we see the fat businessman showing a photo to his new child. This is the target. Memorize the face. Back to the cult leader, who can't resist adding, but since they are dangerous children, there will be safety measures, an absolute rule that has been imprinted on them from a young age that they can't defy. And we call this 3 absolute principles. These 3 principles are to obey and control the buyer's orders. It's an important rule, so we made sure to make them remember it. Cut to the kid in the car, staring intently at the photo. Suddenly, he pipes up, "Father, there is a car following behind us." The fat businessman, baffled, snaps, "What? What are you talking about, kid?" When in doubt, shout, "Just shut up and memorize him." The kid, ever the obedient robot, replies, "Yes, I have received your order, father." The cult leader's voiceover continues with an eerie calm. The first principle is the parents' words are absolute. Just then, the fat businessman's car is rear-ended, hard. He's instantly out of the picture, dead as a doornail. The kid, however, is miraculously unharmed and starts checking the fat man's pulse, as if hoping for a different outcome. The cult leader's voice chimes in again. The second principle is don't use power without the parents' permission. Two goons with guns appear, one of whom is the guy in the photo. They're as confused as you are right now. The kid shifts gears into an Oscar-worthy performance, sobbing, "Please help, my dad isn't breathing, please." The goons, not knowing what to do with a crying kid, start to panic. One mutters, "Damn it, I never heard he'd bring the kid. Should we just deal with him?" The other, equally clueless, says, "Handle my ass. He is still a kid. I'd rather throw him away somewhere." The cult leader's voiceover resumes ominously. And the last third principle is... The goon tries to comfort the kid. "Hey, kid, I'm really sorry for doing this." But before he can finish, the kid stabs him right in the throat. The cult leader, sounding almost proud, continues. In a case where a threat arises to the parents' safety, ignore the two principles and handle the situation. The kid then efficiently headshots the second goon. Back at the cult, the leader, with a smile that could curdle milk, says, "What kind of good child are they? What do you think about them? Would you like to purchase them?" Suddenly, he gets serious. These kids, so you can't, that's unfortunate. Or do you want to see our only defective product? He has the best skills among all our elites. I personally really cared about him. But I lost him. Or should I say, I don't know whether he is still alive or... In a fit of rage, he slams his fist on the table. We are trying to track him. But he can't use his power without parent permission, so we can't find him. He is probably living in hiding by now as a regular kid. Or maybe he is already dead. Suddenly, we see a fist fly through the air and land squarely on the chest of a nerdy boy named Hyun-ho. His face contorts in pain as the bully, Yusef, taunts him. "Whoa, that one went in perfectly, right, Hyun-ho?" "What? What are you trying to say, Hyun-ho?" Hyun-ho, sweating bullets, thinks to himself, "Shit." Struggling to keep his composure, he stammers out, No. I mean perfect score. 1,80,000 points. That's around 1,80,000 points, isn't it?" One of the bullies exclaims. "Damn, 1,80,000 points is a lot, right?" Another, a fat bully, chimes in. "Yeah, Yusef's fist is 1,80,000 points, lol." Hyun-ho, still in agony, thinks, "Shit, you son of a..." Just then, another bully pushes Yusef aside and runs toward Hyun-ho, shouting, Me! I will do it too! Hey, Hwang Hyun-ho, how many are my points? How many?" Yusef, now pissed off, starts cleaning his hoodie. Hyun-ho starts sweating even more, muttering, "Shit!" But before he can finish, the eager bully shouts, 1,80,000? I also got 1,80,000. Hyun-ho blurts out, "No, you just shh." Another bully, laughing, says, Park Sion, lol. He said you are a shitter." So now Hyun-ho's score meter is sharper. Park Sion, clearly in denial, shouts, "No way! He is just out of order now." Hyun-ho thinks, "Shit, he's like this again. Honestly, I'm better than you." Suddenly, Yusef asks, Sion, what are you doing?" Sion, looking confused, doesn't respond quickly enough, and Yusef slaps him across the face. "You can't hit me, so can I hit you? Understand, right?" Sion clenches his fist in anger, muttering, "Yusef, you really..." Then, with a sudden shift, he smiles and says, "Whoa, I thought my cheek was falling apart, so it's really 1,80,000 points?" As expected, you are built differently. Yusef, What weight can you handle? 500 kilo? Are they using pounds? Yusef, unimpressed, begins to leave, tossing back, "Idiot. Just buy me a cigarette, Sion." Sion, patting his cheek, replies, "Ah, okay, I will go. You want menthol, right?" Fixing his hair, Sion adds, "Ah, Yusef, I am really going to fight you next time. Whoa, but talking in English just like him is so cool." Yunho, watching this circus, thinks in annoyance, "Ah, seriously, I really can win if I fight with them." Sion then puts his hand on Hyunho's shoulder and starts choking him, demanding, "Are you sure my punch is shit and not a perfect score?" Hyunho, panicking, thinks, "Ah, please, this bastard again." In anger, Sion says, "I can't do this here, so follow me. You will be dead today, understand?" The scene shifts to a restaurant. Sion, now stuffing his face, says, "You are buying all the tteokbokki here, right? I don't have money because of Yusuf's errands." Hyunho nervously agrees. "Ah, yes, okay," but thinks, "This son of a... Seriously?" Sion, wiping his face, asks, "Are you sure about that? Can't I have the same score as Yusuf?" Hyunho, stammering, says, "It's not that, it's just..." Suddenly, Sion points to a sign and asks, "Ah, here, this shop has the same name as you, right?" Hyunho, sweating even more, responds, "This is, my mom's shop." With a warm smile, Hyunho's mom enters the scene saying, "Oh my, so you are my son's friend. Here, eat a lot. You can have the oding as well." Sion, chewing happily, says, "So the owner is your mom? Ah, so that's why the name is Hyunho Snack Bar." Hyunho, thinking he's in the clear, says, "Yeah, it's my mom's shop." In his mind, he curses his luck. "I have been hiding well all this time, but why? I can't believe I have been caught by someone like him." With a sinister look, Sion asks, "Ah, is that so? Why have you been hiding it?" Hyunho, getting very angry, clutches a pen tightly in his hand, thinking, "What are you going to do with my mom? You really crossing the line, you bastard?" He prepares to stab Sion with the pen, but before he can act, Sion bows toward Hyunho's mother and says, "Ma'am, if that's the case, I should have greeted you properly earlier. I'm Hyunho's friend, Park Sion. No wonder. The store name was unusual." Hyunho, utterly confused, watches as his mother beams. "Is that so?" "Hyunho told me to hide it." Sion, ever the charmer, says, "Hyunho, you are so bad, how can you hide your beautiful mom?" Panicking, Hyunho thinks, "I can't let this continue. What is he going to do next?" He blurts out, "Ah, Mom, we have to go now. My friends are waiting for me." His mother, still smiling, says, "Really? Then take this, Sion. Is this enough for your friend? I packed some tteokbokki and fritters, so go share them." With hesitation, Hyunho says, "No, Mom, don't do that." Sion, ecstatic, exclaims, "Really? Is it free?" Hyunho's mother, nodding, says, "Of course. I will treat you today." Hyunho thinks, "No, Mom, don't do that." Sion, overjoyed, shouts, "Whoa, is it really okay to give us this much?" Hyunho's mother, still smiling warmly, says, "Yeah, don't worry." Hyunho's mother, radiating maternal warmth, said, "Yeah, don't worry." Then, with a smile that could melt icebergs, she added, "Hyunho's friend is also my son." Internally, Hyunho was screaming, "No, Mom, they are not like what you think they are. They are different. They are not my friends." His thoughts were practically broadcasted in neon lights across his face, but his mother remained blissfully oblivious. Sion, with a look that suggested he had just won the lottery, responded with a grin that could rival a cartoon villain. "Thank you, then we will eat this well." The sinister undertone in his voice was unmistakable, and yet, to Hyunho's horror, As Sion leaves, Hyun-ho grabs his hand and pleads, Sion, please don't give this to Yusef and others. Please, I am asking you a favor for this. Sion, annoyed, replies, yeah, understood, I will do that. Then I will go now, ma'am. Hyun-ho's mother waves goodbye, saying, yeah, come again with your friends next time. Sion, grinning, replies, yes, I will. Next time I will come with my friends. As soon as Sion is out of sight, Hyun-ho turns to his mother and asks, Mom, are you serious about that? I am doomed. He shouts in frustration. I told you to just pretend that we don't know each other. I told you that. What's wrong with you? In his mind, he regrets his outburst. At that time, while I'm yelling at my mom, why did I yell at my mom? His mother, looking hurt, says softly, I am just happy. It's my first time meeting your friend. I am sorry, Hyun-ho. Hyun-ho, confused, thinks, why is she apologizing? She continues, I just want you to get along with your friends. That's why I did it. I am sorry, son. Hyun-ho clenches his fist in anger. Stop apologizing, or I will. The scene shifts, and we see someone dramatically chuck a rag into a food bowl and exclaim, holy shit! He pulls the rag out of the bowl and asks, what the F is this all about? Enter Yusef and his minions. Yusef, ever the charmer, asks, Hyun-ho, your mom sells tteokbokki, right? So I bought some, but what is this? Isn't this called a rag? Why is this in the tteokbokki? He then starts rubbing that rag on Hyun-ho's face and smirks. I can't eat this, Hyun-ho. Can I get a refund? With a devilish grin, he adds, please, or should I go directly to your mom to get it? After all, I'm Hyun-ho's friend. Hyun-ho stands silent, mentally cursing. Park Sion, I asked so nicely. Finally, he asks, friend? You guys are my friends. With a cold face, Yusef shoots back. Hyun-ho, are you mad? For real? Friends should get along, it's just a little joke. He then dumps the food on Hyun-ho and declares, that's it. I'm going to tell your mom everything. Hyun-ho is on the verge of exploding with anger. His pen clenched so hard it might snap. Yusef, ever observant, suddenly notices something off. Hyun-ho is about to stab Yusef in the neck with his pen when he remembers his mom's words. Mom wants you to get along well with your friends, Hyun-ho. That's why. I'm sorry. Calm down, son. The scene shifts to the present, where Hyun-ho stops his pen an inch from Yusef's neck, his hands shaking. Yusef, with a devilish look, says, what the? Hwang Hyun-ho. Bursting with anger, he asks, what the f you trying to do, man? The scene shifts again. Sion enters the class and asks, Hyun-ho, what are you? But is suddenly confused. The students are sweating in fear, 2 policemen are there, and the teacher stands ashamed. The window is broken, blood on the glass, and Hyun-ho's broken glasses lie in a bloody state. We hear someone narrate, Hyun-ho was beaten continuously for about 15 minutes that day. He fainted and regained consciousness several times, writhing in pain. Each time, Hyun-ho begged for forgiveness, saying he was sorry. But the beating continued, and no one stepped in to help. In the end, the one who put an end to the violence was Hyun-ho. He did it himself. The scene shifts to a closed warehouse. Yusef says, I have a good idea. With a smile, he adds, about Hyun-ho, let's say he was pushed while we were playing around. Do you understand what I mean? His minions start sweating in fear, one of them saying, we didn't do anything. Yusef, unbothered, says, hey, don't be like that. I asked my dad, and he said there's a good law in Korea. An underling asks, juvenile offender, is that right? Yusef replies, I'm not eligible because I repeated a year, so I'm asking you a favor. You go and confess. Say Hyun-ho was pushed. You understand? The underling, still in fear, says, I know that. But they say we will still be sued civilly. With a smile, Yusef says, ain't no worries. There's a way for that too. Civil lawsuit that hasn't happened yet. With a sinister look, Yusef adds, if there's no one to file a lawsuit, then it's not a problem, right? Come on, guys, even if you get caught, you are still a juvenile offender, right? The underling says, even so, that's... Yusef opens a suitcase with a kick, revealing a lot of money. He asks, 10 million won per person. Deal? So who knows where Hyun-ho's house is? The scene shifts to Hyun-ho's mother sitting, looking up with tears dripping from her eyes. Her room is scattered and she sits in silence. We see her apartment, then Yusef and his minions, wearing masks, approaching. Yusef asks, which floor did you say? One underling replies, the 5th floor. The elevator is coming down from the 5th floor, but it's not moving. Yusef and his minions decide to take the stairs. Yusef says, hurry up, we are almost there. Suddenly, he notices a fire extinguisher jammed in the elevator door, preventing it from coming down. He thinks, what the is this? Someone sitting on the stairs asks, why are you so late? It's Sion waiting for them. He says, making people wait is not good. Yusef asks, Park Sion, what are you doing over there? One underling says, great, come with us. Sion gets up and says, no need for long explanations, I just have 2 questions. How did you know about Hyun-ho's Taegboki place? That was a hidden gem only I knew about. Yusef takes off his mask and, with a smile, says, oh, that. You didn't buy the cigarettes I asked for, so I got curious about what you were eating with the neighborhood kids. Then he saw Hyun-ho arguing with his mom. Sion comes down the stairs and, with a serious tone, says, so it's because of me. Then, the second question, I really need an answer to this, so answer carefully. Why are you guys here? Yusef shoulders his iron pipe and says, isn't it obvious? We are here to meet Hyun-ho's mom to file a lawsuit and sleep peacefully. With a devilish grin, Yusef continues, just in time. I have been really annoyed with you too. Did you think I wouldn't figure it out, pretending to bully Hyun-ho with us, but actually protecting that jerk the whole time? With a sinister smile, he grips his iron pipe and says, did you really think I was that stupid all along? Sion bends down to pick up the fire extinguisher and says, all right, that's enough. Yusef rushes to attack him with the iron pipe and says, now go to hell, bastard. But Sion opens the fire extinguisher's pin and says, thanks for making it clear. With a serious look, he adds, as I expected it, but I still needed to check it out. He blows the fire extinguisher's foam in Yusef's face. Smoke fills the stairwell. Yusef, now blind and furious, shouts, what the hell just come out? Suddenly, an underling sees the fire extinguisher flying at his face. Sion throws the extinguisher, knocking the minion away, and we see Yusef also fall back. Yusef angrily pushes the underling aside. Step aside, you stupid son of a... He struggles to stand, but then he sees all his minions beaten by Sion. Furious, Yusef rushes to attack Sion and exclaims, you son of a... up! But Sion blocks his iron pipe with the fire extinguisher. Sion then rotates the extinguisher and with tremendous force presses it on Yusef's foot. Yusef moans in agony, oh, wait, my bone is broken. It's broken, shit. Sion, descending the stairs, says, I heard a strange sound, you idiot. Your cuneiform bone above the metatarsal is broken. You can't walk anymore. Yusef, now terrified, asks, why are you doing this? Why the hell are you doing this to me? Sion, lifting the cap of his hoodie, says, 3 principles are imprinted on children. First one, parents' words are absolute. He launches a fist at Yusef. Second one, Sion punches Yusef's face so hard it sinks into the ground. With a serious tone, he adds, without parents' permission, do not use violence. Yusef's minions, confused, say, huh, what does he say? Sion grabs Yusef's collar with one hand and his thumb with the other. Yusef starts begging, save me. Sorry. I am sorry. Please stop. Sion continues. And the most important, the third one. In the event of a threat to the parents' safety, disregard the first 2 rules and handle the immediate situation. Yusef is shivering in pain. Sion says, Young-ho's mother said, all Yoon-ho's friends are like my own children. Sion brings his leg over Yusef's head and with a serious tone says, so if you threaten my mom, it means I can beat you to a pulp. He stomps on Yusef's head with his foot and asks, understand, right? The scene shifts to a mansion. A nun says, Director, there's a call from Korea. The father of the cult asks, Korea? Who is it? The nun replies, it's the Baekho personnel. The father of the cult says, ah, it's them. Pass it to me. We see a store in Korea named Baekho Personnel. Someone says, it seems we have found it. The lost legend of the dead mansion. Codename Sean is in Korea. The narrator says with the calm detachment of someone describing the weather, Codename Sean. Among the children created by our illustrious dead mansion, he was by far the perfect masterpiece. Infiltration, weapon skills, and even VIP assassination, a product that excelled in every field. Thus, he was supposed to be delivered to one of our top clients, a certain Yakuza organization in Japan. And yet, there was a delivery error, wasn't there? Instead of Japan, he was sent to Korea. We see a young Sion, wide-eyed and panicked, begging for help, as if misplaced like a lost Amazon package. The father of the cult continued, with the glee of a child who found their lost toy. That was already 5 years ago. I thought he was dead and gave up. Oh, Lord, I never thought we would find him again like this. With a devilish grin, he added, hurry up and bring him back, by any means necessary. Understood, Rachel? The nun, now transforming from pious servant to hot damn beauty with curves that could cause traffic accidents, replied, yes, we will proceed with the retrieval operation immediately. In case of any resistance, we will subdue him by force. She strikes a pose that suggests more runway model than holy sister. Annoyed, the father of that cult snaps, what are you on about? Bring him back with as unscathed as possible. We see Rachel hastily picking up her clothes, looking apologetic as if caught stealing cookies from the jar. The father sighs. Leave that gun behind. It's too much. The scene shifts to Korea where we see Yusef's father, Kwon Byung-woo, standing with his head bowed, looking as remorseful as a schoolboy caught cheating on a test. I am deeply sorry. It's my fault for failing to properly educate him at home. I promise to cover Hyunho's medical expenses and mental damages and provide any other compensation you request. Hyunho's mother, unmoved by his theatrical performance, says coldly, nothing will change even if you apologize. This isn't something that can be resolved with just an apology. Yusef's father, his patience wearing thin, stands silently with his head bowed. Suddenly, as if an actor forgetting his lines, he says, oh, it didn't work. He steps back, his demeanor shifting from humble to dismissive, and says, all right, understood. We will be leaving then. Hyunho's mother, now boiling with anger, demands, what? Is that all you have to say? Yusef's father starts wiping his face with a handkerchief, the epitome of smug, and says, Hyunho's mother, I believe efficiency is important in all matters, But since you have no intention of settling, I don't see any reason to waste more time here. Yunho's mother, baffled, watches as he nonchalantly walks away, saying, "There are other methods we can use. Plus, this is my area of expertise." His car speeds down the road and he complains, "My nose is tingling and the place smells awful. How can they run a business in such a place? Tear it all down and build a mixed-use complex." Suddenly, he asks, "Hey, what happened to that kid? Was it taken care of?" His driver replies, "Yes, secretary." "Oh, went ahead. He should be finishing up and contacting us by now." Yusef's father, with a casual ends the conversation. The scene shifts to the hospital, where Yusef, sporting a broken leg, is deep in thought. That guy. There was something strange about him. He was talking about the 3 engraved principles or something. His father, unimpressed, asks, "3 principles? Is it some trend among kids these days?" Yusef, exasperated, replies, "I don't know either." Then suddenly His father raises a hand to silence him. "Oh, wait. Stop." Turning to the doctor, he asks, "Doctor, could you leave us alone for a moment? Just for a moment." Yusef, desperate, exclaims, "Father, that guy..." But his father, channeling his inner disciplinarian, slaps him and asks, "Yusef Kwon, do you know what makes me the most angry? Not that you bullied a few kids, or even that one of them jumped off a building because of you. I don't care about any of that." Leaning in closer with a devilish grin, he continues, "If you wanted to take a wrench to their house to finish things off, you shouldn't have left a mess behind." He straightens up. "The basics of work is never doing something twice. Watch closely and learn about this opportunity." The scene shifts and we see Sion getting kicked in the chest, landing hard on the ground. 3 bodybuilders in black suits sent by Yusef's father tower over him. One starts wearing a glove, saying, "Get him up." Sion, dazed, asks, "Uncle, what's this?" Only to be slapped hard. Lying face down, he hears, "Things don't always go as planned, do they?" The first man takes off his glove, tossing it onto Sion's head, and another grabs Sion's arm, twisting it painfully. Sion, confused and in pain, hears, "Because of you, the young master got humiliated." The first man, adjusting his glasses, places his foot on Sion's hand and presses down hard, causing Sion to wince in agony. With a sinister look, the man says, "This is how adults do it, kid." It was evening time, and we see Sion fixing his hand with all the nonchalance of someone adjusting a loose shoelace. With annoyance, he mutters, "This is how adults do it. Morons." With a sigh, he adds, "They can't even tell the difference between a dislocated joint and a broken one. This is nothing compared to Aunt Rachel's beatings." He thinks to himself, "This has become bothersome. Because of the 3 principles, I can't use my strength without orders." Picking up his bag, he muses, "Still, this should be enough to calm things down a bit. If not, I might need a new identity. That would be really annoying." But suddenly, Hyunho's mother notices him and calls out, "Sion?" She asks, seeing Sion's condition, "It is Sion, right? But why do you look like that?" Sion starts sweating and says, "Ah, hello." But in his mind he thinks, "Speaking of troublesome." The scene shifts to Hyunho's mother's shop. Sion is holding a fork poised over his food, but not eating. Suddenly, Hyunho's mother comes with more food and says with a smile, "Sion, don't be shy. Auntie made plenty of food, so eat a lot." Suddenly, like an obedient robot, Sion thinks, "The command, eat a lot." He starts wolfing down the food at a fast pace, thinking, "As expected, I perceive Hyunho's mother as my parent." Hyunho's mother, worried for him, says, "Child, you'll get indigestion doing that. Drink water, drink water." Like an obedient robot, Sion starts chugging water and empties the entire bottle. His stomach is full after eating so much. Sion says, "Well, thank you for the meal." Hyunho's mother, cutting sushi, says, "Oh, still, seeing you after so long makes Auntie happy." Sion, with a sad face, asks, "Is Hyunho okay?" Hyunho's mother replies, "Our Hyunho? Of course. Hyunho is fine. The surgery went well and we just need to monitor his recovery. Our Hyunho is so strong, isn't he? So, even though it's tough now, he will overcome it." But suddenly Hyunho's mother's hands start trembling and she says, "But I guess I can't do the same." Hyunho's mother starts crying in her helplessness. She says, "My son ended up like that, and I couldn't do anything. I wanted to destroy everything." Hyunho's mother starts banging her hands loudly on the table while crying and says, "Just like how I feel inside, I wanted to tear and crush that father too." Sion is sitting quietly, listening to everything. Suddenly, Hyunho's mother turns around and says, "I'm sorry, Sion, I am really sorry. You shouldn't be seeing Auntie like this." But she is surprised that there is no one behind her. She asks, "Sion?" The scene shifts to Yusef's father's building. Yusef's father says, "With this, we conclude the presentation of Byung-woo Construction's third quarter results. Everyone, thank you for your hard work this quarter. Thanks to everyone's efforts, Byung-woo Construction has come this far, even with the bankruptcy of our parent company, Juyeong Construction. Our unyielding determination." We see a waiter ask a bulky man, "Sir, would you like some more wine?" The bulky man says, "Ah, pour some more." But before he can finish his words, the waiter smashes the wine bottle on his face. We see that the waiter is none other than Sion with a devilish grin, saying, "Good, drink your fill, sir." Another person charges towards Sion and shouts, "What's with this brat?" We see Sion pick up 2 mugs and throws them towards the man trying to attack him. The mugs lodge in the man's hands and, unaware, he asks, "How did you manage to dodge so well?" Suddenly, he notices the mugs and exclaims, "Mugs? What the—" But it is too late. Sion delivers a hard kick. The man tries to block the kick with his hands, but the force of the kick breaks the mugs along with his hands. We see Sion holding 2 forks and a knife between his fingers. A man charges towards Sion and shouts, "Over there! Get that blonde kid!" But Sion throws a fork at him, and only after that do we see Sion slaughter all 3 men. One person shouts, "What's going on? What's all this commotion?" Another person shouts, "Fire! Turn on the lights and fire!" That's when the lights come on, and everyone starts panicking. Dead bodies lie all around. One person shouts, "What's this? Who is it?" Another person shouts, "Find that blonde-haired kid." Another person shouts, "He couldn't have gone far. He's still in here." Yusef's father says, "Blonde hair. Kid?" We see that Sion is hiding under the table. He is coming out from under the table, thinking, "The good children of the dead mansion. First principle, a parent's words are absolute." We see him speeding forward to tear everyone apart. He remembers Hyunho's mother's words, "Just like how I wanted to tear and crush that father too." We see Sion holding a knife and says, "As mother said, tear and crush." Suddenly, 2 people rush towards him. Sion hurriedly picks up the cloth on the table, and everything on the table is thrown at them. He then jumps and kicks the flying table towards them, slamming them with it. They scream in agony. Suddenly, someone throws a knife at Sion, but he dodges it, and it hits another person behind him. It was the person who had previously tried to break Sion's hand. He starts putting on his glove and says, "The kid dodged it. Impressive." With an angry look, he asks, "But that arm? I definitely broke it, didn't I? This time I will have to do it properly." But before he can do anything, Sion grabs his hand and hits him hard in the face with his elbow. Sion locks his hands and says, "Watch closely. This is how you break an arm." And he breaks his arm. The person starts screaming in pain. But suddenly, a bullet passes by Sion's ear, cutting his cheek. He turns his eyes in anger. It is Yusuf's father pointing a gun at Sion. Yusuf's father says, it didn't hit." Sion raises his hands and says, "From that distance, it's hard to hit unless you're a pro." Yusuf's father, coming down the stairs while pointing the gun at Sion, asks, "Really? You seem to know quite well. Are you a pro, kid?" He keeps coming to Sion and says, "I heard Korean kids do something called crew. Are you part of that too?" Sion says, "Crew? I don't really know about that. If I belonged to a group, it would be Hyunho Snacks, I guess." In confusion, Yusuf's father asks, "Hyunho? Snacks? That smelly alleyway junk food store. Now I get it. So what did that lady tell you to do? Did she tell you to kill me?" With a serious look, Sion says, "No, she told me to tear and crush you." Yusuf's father is confused, but suddenly Sion hits him on the hand, causing his gun to fly into the air. Then he punches Yusuf's father hard in the face. Suddenly, Yusuf's father grabs Sion's collar and asks while falling, You bastard! Is this revenge for that snack shop mother and son?" Sion says, "This isn't revenge or retribution." He punches Yusuf's father hard in the face again, slamming his face into the ground. Sion says, "It's just the first principle." Yusuf's father is bleeding from his nose and mouth. Sion says, "A parent's absolute command." Yusuf's father is lying in a bloody state, and Sion starts to leave. But suddenly Yusuf's father says, "Work efficiency is important. Don't do things twice. I should have taken care of that lady back then. And you, next time, kill all of them." Sion asks, "Why are you saying such unnecessary things?" He shoots at the chandelier and says, "If there is a threat to a parent's safety." The chandelier falls on Yusuf's father. Sion says while leaving, "Like father, like son." With a cold look, Sion says, "Both of you are the same." The scene shifts to the hospital. The doctor asks, "Patient, are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere?" Yusuf, sleeping, says, "Can't you see? Damn it." The doctor says, "I have heard school violence gets pretty scary these days." Yusuf seems confused. The doctor continues, "I have never seen someone as badly hurt as you before, but the kid who hit you must have been really good at fighting, huh? Even so, this is too much, really." Yusuf says, "Indeed, it hurts a lot." Suddenly, with a grin that could make a devil blush, the doctor asks, "By the way, what were you talking about with your father earlier? The 3 principles? You mentioned something like that." Yusuf, already feeling like he's starring in a bad medical drama, suddenly notices that the doctor had injected something into his IV bag. He asks, "Hey, what's that medicine? The color looks weird." The doctor, like an actor revealing the twist in a horror movie, starts removing her mask and says, "Oh, don't worry. As long as I only put in half, you won't die." Yusuf, now definitely regretting not just skipping his appointment, exclaims, "What?" The doctor, clearly enjoying her role as the villain, asks, "Now, can you answer my question? The absolute 3 principles. Do you know what that is?" Yusuf starts panicking like a kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar and stammers, I don't know. What the heck?" As if this scene wasn't surreal enough, the doctor starts removing her wig. "Come on," she says. "You mentioned it to your dad earlier today. Or shall I change the question? Do you know a kid named Sean?" And there she is, Rachel. The scene shifts and we see Rachel, looking as tense as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs, calling the father of the cult from Yusuf's father's office building. "Director, we have a problem," she says, her voice shaking slightly. "Codename Sean seems to have used their power." The father, as clueless as a bat in daylight, asks, "Used their power? What do you mean?" Rachel's reply is ominous. "We tracked Sean to the scene, but by the time we arrived, he was already gone. And there were several severely injured adult men left behind. No matter how skilled Sean is, it's impossible to judge under the restrictions of the three principles." Now, the father starts sweating bullets, looking as if he's seen a ghost. "This is unbelievable. In the history of the Dead Mansion, this has never happened. That's why they are called the Absolute Three Principles." In his panic, he opens a closet, and books start tumbling out like a bad comedy skit. "Rachel, if Sean is ignoring the Absolute Three Principles, this is not an ordinary matter anymore. The weapons that the Dead Mansion sold off could ignore control and target us. Rachel, as of now, we are changing the operation. Investigating Sean takes priority. Find out if he is indeed ignoring control and using his power." Rachel, ever the eager beaver, replies, "Yes, understood." The father adds, "And if you need support in Korea, you can get help from the Baiko personnel there." Cut to two of these Baiko bruisers, one bald and the other built like a tank. The muscular one scratches his head. "What's all this? Is this all done by a middle school kid?" The bald one, ever the cynic, chimes in, "Seriously, dealing with all this is gonna make me lose my hair." Rachel updates the father. "Yes, confirmed with the smoker and the barcode head. We will go after them after they leave the scene." Hanging up, Rachel turns to the duo, who look more confused than a chameleon in a bag of Skittles. The muscular one asks, "Do kids these days wear that kind of thing as clothes?" The bald one shrugs. "It's Russia. They're open-minded. My wife is also open-minded. By the way, why is our boss always absent at times like this? Still going through menopause?" Muscular one laughs. "The director gave a separate order." Shift to Sion School. Rachel, looking like she's on a mission from God, thinks, "Sean, I've already completed a preliminary investigation on you. You're enrolled at Yonhwa Middle School." Disguised as a teacher, she greets a student with a saccharine. "Hi." The student, confused, replies, "Hello, teacher." Rachel continues her inner monologue. "Your parents are supposedly abroad, but they were unidentified fake parents. Codename Sean. What are you doing here? I will dig everything." With a sinister smile, she thinks, "I am so excited. I wonder how our Sean has grown." "Sean, you were the best among the children I trained. You perfectly mastered every weapon I taught you. To see your growth, regardless of the mission." She reaches Sion's classroom just in time to see him pretending to be a tough guy, boasting, "I am telling you it was Yusuf Kwan who said that." Then, making a terrified face, he mimics Yusuf. "Sion, stop. I was wrong. I was making a fuss." Rachel's jaw drops. "What? Was that Sean? Is that vulgar kid really Sean?" The whole class thinks he's full of it. A bulky boy behind him, half asleep, mutters, "Geez, so noisy. Let me sleep, please." Sion snaps, "What did you say?" Rachel's mind races. What's going on? Are they establishing the hierarchy? At the Dead Mansion, we had this season every year, fighting to measure each other's combat power and determine superiority. It was so cute when they even challenged me. Yeah, and Sean was always the strongest. But to her shock, Sion is getting his butt kicked. Rachel starts sweating. The strongest? But why? The bulky boy kicks Sion continuously, and Sion begs for mercy. "Wait, hold on. Sorry. My bones." Rachel's face falls. Her hopes are dashed. Later in her class, Rachel thinks, yes, this is a school. If he is hiding his true identity, he won't use his power recklessly. Annoyed, she glares at him. So does that mean he is still under the control of the three principals? I should keep observing. Suddenly she notices Sion writing at the speed of light. Those serious, sharp, sophisticated eyes. As expected, Sean, you are different. The good children of Dead Mansion must possess not only physical strength, but also intellect. Sean always stood out among them. As expected, even if you hide your power, your intellectual side can't help but show. Is this case? With a devilish grin, Rachel thinks, it's troubling. If it's a disguise, even this should be hidden. I will teach you again if the opportunity arises. But when she looks at his exercise book, her hopes crash again. Rachel thinks, what are you doing, Sean? She smacks Sion on the head with the book. What are you doing now? During class. In the female staff bathroom, Rachel, headache pounding, mutters, this is nonsense. Sean. As she tears off her mask, she groans, my Sean can't possibly be this foolish. She sweats, confused. It's strange. The face seems somewhat familiar, but I don't feel any grace at all. Grabbing her head in anger, she says, could it all be a coincidence? There's no way that foolish kid is Sean. She starts changing her clothes. Change of plans. Tying up her hair, she declares, now it's not about the control of the three principals. She steps out, disguised as a student. We need to question if that guy is really codenamed Sean. Outside the school, Sion grabs his head. It hurts so much. Rachel follows him in disguise. Sion mutters, the teacher usually doesn't hit that hard. Rachel thinks, if you are not Sean, you will die by my hand, kid. But then someone calls out, Sion, where are you going? We meet here again, just in time. Sion exclaims, oh, Yunho's mother. She asks, could you help me carry some bags, dear? Sion, ever the eager helper, replies, yes, I will carry them. Yunho's mother smiles, thank you, Sion. And while you're at it, have some tteokbokki before you go. Sion, delighted, exclaims, yes, thank you. I will enjoy it. Rachel thinks, who is that person? Cut to Hyunho's mother's shop. Sion is eating like he's been starved for a century. Hyunho's mother, warm as ever, says, oh dear, take your time eating. Sion, mouth full, mumbles, yes. Rachel, observing, thinks, here too that old woman mentioned that guy named Yusef. That guy said he made this old woman's son unconscious. But what is their relationship with this kid? He is vulgar, just as I thought. The closer you look, the more vulgar he becomes. Eating angrily, Rachel muses, indeed. You are not Sean, kid. How dare you show such vulgarity with the same face as our Sean? Suddenly, Rachel starts trembling. Both Sion and Hyunho's mother look at her, confused. Then Rachel, face red as a tomato, starts screaming, it's spicy! Here! Water! Water! Hyunho's mother, concerned, asks, you can't handle spicy food? Oh, here, drink this. Rachel, chugging the water, thinks, I can't handle it. Are you kidding? This is torture. Do they really eat this? Are they insane? These crazy Koreans, this is practically poison. Are you trying to assassinate me? Sion, ever the smart aleck, says, you should eat slower. You are so clumsy. Rachel glares. I swear I am gonna kill you. You are definitely dead. Come to think of it, our Sean couldn't handle spicy food either. At those times, I would always hold his hand. If he's still in Korea, he must be struggling a lot. But then she notices Sion clenching his fist, his hand shaking. Hyunho's mother asks, Sion, is it tasty? Sion replies, yes, it's really delicious. Rachel thinks, This kid, is he enduring the spiciness? Fool, just don't eat it. Why are you enduring and eating what you are given? If it's hard for you, then don't eat. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off in her head. Come to think of it, back then too, this kid follows all that lady's orders. She watches as Hyunho's mother asks Seon, "Seon, could you carry this for me too?" Seon dutifully replies, "Yes, of course." Rachel's brain lights up like a Christmas tree. He listens to her, commands. Yes, that kind of quality work is impossible without a command. But it would be possible if someone commanded Sean to destroy Byungwoo construction. If there's anyone here who might have such a motive, it can only be this woman. She smiles, recalling the first principle of Dead Mansion's good children. A parent's word is absolute. Yes, Sean sees this woman as a parent and follows her commands. That theory fits all the pieces together. With a facade of politeness, Rachel turns to Hyunho's mother. "I will pay for this, ma'am." "Oh, wait. I will find some change for you. Let's see. Change." Hyunho's mother starts fumbling with her cash drawer, oblivious to the looming danger. Rachel, gripping a pointed stick like it's an extension of her sinister thoughts, thinks, "Then there's a very simple way to verify this." In a flash, she lunges, aiming the stick at Hyunho's mother, but in a move worthy of a ninja, Seong catches it with his fork, leaping from his chair and hurtling toward Rachel. He's about to grab Rachel by the throat, but she meets him with a sinister smile. Her thoughts are triumphant, as expected. Hyunho's mother, hearing the commotion, turns around, but by then, the scene has shifted to a bewildering silence. Seon, student, I think she forgot to take her change. In the next instant, the scene cuts to Rachel and Seon locked in a fierce battle. Rachel's voice drips with sarcasm and smugness, the third principle of Dead Mansion's good children. In a case where a threat arises to parents' safety, ignore the two principles and handle the situation. Their blows are lightning fast, each blocking the other's attacks with a skill that would make any martial arts master jealous. Seon, exasperated, grabs her hand. "Stop it already. Are you planning to follow me around all day?" "Aunt Rachel." Rachel, with a devilish grin that could curdle milk, replies, "So it really is you, Sean. Long time no see." Rachel's brow furrows in confusion. "But that's strange. Why are you following that old lady from the snack shop like she's your parent? There's no way a shabby snack shop owner could be a customer of Dead Mansion." Seon, adopting his best serious tone, replies, "Well, I don't understand what you're saying." Internally, he's panicking. "I knew it was a noisy incident, but I didn't expect to get caught so quickly." Rachel moves swiftly towards Seon, her expression hardening. "Well, whatever the case may be," she says, before grabbing Seon and lifting him into the air with alarming ease. She slams him into the ground, and Seon's body shivers with pain. Sitting on top of him with a sinister look, Rachel declares, "It's time to go back now, Sean. There are a lot of clients waiting for you." Seon's mind reels. Go back, again, to that time. Suddenly, a memory flashes before his eyes. Someone places her hand on his cheek and says, "Park Seon. From now on, that is your name." Seon's shock is palpable. That memory just now. What is it? He mutters. Rachel, puzzled, asks, "What did you say, Sean?" But before she can react, Seon slams his head into her face. Rachel recoils, clutching her bleeding nose. Rachel blows her nose angrily and snarls, "Sean, so you don't intend to come quietly, huh?" But she's taken aback when she realizes Seon has vanished. Seon is already sprinting through an alley, muttering to himself, "Damn it! They sent Rachel after me." But who is that woman? The scene shifts to the Dead Mansion, where the father of the cult, eyes bulging with fury, demands, "What did you say? How could you let him get away?" Rachel, quickly walking towards the changing room, replies, "I'm sorry. He slipped away while I was momentarily off guard." As she starts taking off her clothes, she adds, "But we have found the old woman controlling Sean with the three principles." There's a knock on the door, followed by a voice. "Excuse me. Hello?" The father, still seething, asks, "Controlling, you say?" Rachel, slipping into new clothes, says, "From what I observed, Sean seems to recognize that woman as his parent." The father, incredulous, retorts, "Listening to the words of an old woman he perceives as a parent. Could that even be possible? Does it appear that the old woman is deliberately using the three principles?" Rachel, donning her new mask, replies, "Further investigation is needed, but it doesn't seem that way so far." The father, now worried, concludes, "In that case, Rachel, let's first verify things on the woman's end." Rachel opens the changing room door, only to be met by a woman shouting, "How rude! A young person cutting in line." The woman, confused, mutters, "Oh, she was young earlier." The scene shifts back to the dead mansion. The father says, "There are two ways to retrieve good children from their parents. The first is..." We see Hyunho's mother looking puzzled. She asks, "Yes, what did you say?" Disguised Rachel, with an air of faux concern, says, "Please do not get close to our Sion. I have been away on business trips often, so I haven't been able to pay much attention to my child. But to think that my Sion, who can't even eat spicy food, has been eating such low-quality food, as a parent, it truly breaks my heart." Hyunho's mother, taken aback, asks, "Sion can't eat spicy food." The father's voice continues, "The first way to retrieve a good child from their parents." Disguised Rachel, thinking, "Yes, old woman, feel the guilt. You can never be Sean's parent," says, "I understand that Sion listens to you well, ma'am, but with that comes the responsibility of being an adult. So, if Sion happens to come back here again, say..." The father's voice continues, "Command the return to the dead mansion." Disguised Rachel concludes, "Never come here again and go back home. And please scold him firmly. Then I will leave it at that." To Rachel's surprise, Hyunho's mother firmly replies, "No, I can't agree with that. You mentioned that you, as his mother, are often away on business trips, correct?" Disguised Rachel, now irritated, asks, "Are you trying to pick a fight over that?" Hyunho's mother, with a steely resolve, asks, "Have you ever seen Sion's clothes, his face properly? Do you know anything about Sion's school life?" Rachel, taken aback, doesn't understand. Hyunho's mother continues, "Sion always has messy clothes and a dirty face. Whenever I ask about it, he says he fell." Disguised Rachel, attempting to dismiss the concern, replies, "I really thought it was just because he's a boy. I thought all boys grow up that way." Hyunho's mother, tears welling up in her eyes, says, "Even Hyunho always said he just fell. I couldn't let Sion end up the same way. So, without realizing it, I found myself checking on him regularly." Hyunho's mother, voice rising with emotion, shouts, "Right now, Sion needs a parent who can watch over him. He must not end up like Hyunho. If you are busy, then I will keep an eye on him." Disguised Rachel, clenching her fists in anger, shouts, "This old woman! Who do you think you are to watch over someone?" Hyunho's mother bows down, apologizing, "I am sorry, therefore I can't comply with your earlier request." Rachel, her fury barely contained, clenches her fists so tightly her knuckles turn white. The scene shifts, revealing Rachel, her mask now off, chatting on the phone with the cult leader. Director, the first attempt has failed. The old woman showed a stronger determination to claim ownership than expected, she reported, her voice dripping with feigned regret. The father, calm and authoritative, responded, "Then there's no other choice. I wanted to resolve this quietly, if possible. Proceed with the second method." With a devilish grin, Rachel replied, "Yes, I will do that." The cult leader's voice echoed ominously. "The second method is to retrieve a good child from their parents. Upon the parents' death, the child reverts to the ownership of the dead mansion." Rachel's eyes glinted with malevolence as she declared, "I will handle the target, that old woman." The scene shifts to a bustling mart. Yeonho's mother is shopping, blissfully unaware that Rachel, lurking in the shadows, has her in her sights. Rachel clutches a trigger, her thoughts seething with rage. "Who do you think you are to dare take Sean?" With a sinister smile, she presses the trigger. A bomb detonates in the storeroom and chaos ensues. Water sprinklers activate and panicked shoppers shout, "What's going on?" Hyunho's mother, terrified, looks around frantically. Suddenly, Rachel is behind her, gun aimed with cold precision. "You can never be Sean's parent. I won't allow it," Rachel snarls, firing the gun. But in a twist straight out of a video game, Sion swoops in and blocks the bullet with a frying pan, like he's playing PUBG in real life. He peers angrily from behind the pan. Rachel, stunned but then delighted, exclaims, "Sean!" Sion, his mind racing, thinks, "I saw this in a game and tried it, and it actually works." Throwing the pan aside, Sion strides towards Rachel. "But bombs and guns? Isn't that going a bit overboard?" he quips sarcastically. Rachel's eyes narrow. "Oh, don't interfere, Sean." She turns the gun back towards Hyunho's mother, hissing, "I will free you from that old woman." "That's not going to happen," Sion declares, lunging forward and knocking over the shelf Rachel stands behind. Rachel's anger flares. Sion, maintaining his cool, says, "The third principle. You know what I mean, right?" With a swift kick, Sion disarms Rachel, sending the gun clattering to the floor. Rachel, undeterred, draws a knife and sneers, "Humph, I wanted to take you away in one piece." She slashes at Sion, but he blocks the attack with a tomato ketchup can, red liquid spurting everywhere. "I can't let you go in one piece," Sion retorts, tossing the can aside. Rachel dodges his next attack, taunting, "You think you can overpower me? Didn't I teach you?" She lands a kick to his leg, knocking him down. "Fighting should be a means to an end. Consider this a supplementary lesson, Sean," she lectures, her voice dripping with condescension. Sion winces in pain as Rachel, with a sinister look, asks, "So, what is the purpose of this fight?" Meanwhile, Hyunho's mother, oblivious to the battle, notices a crying child. Rushing over, she asks, "Oh dear, child, are you hurt?" The child, sobbing, wails, "Wah, I can't see my mom. I don't know where your mom is. Please help me." But the scene takes a dark turn as we see the child's face. It's the same kid from the first episode, the one with the fat man. In his hand, gleaming menacingly, is a knife. The scene shifts to Sion lying on the ground, writhing in pain. Rachel, with a menacing smile, approaches him. "It's a supplementary class, Sean. So, what do you think is the purpose of this fight?" Sion, through gritted teeth, thinks, "Purpose?" Before he can fully process, Rachel lunges at him. He rolls to the side just in time, narrowly avoiding her strike. She comes at him again, knife in hand, but he quickly dodges and grabs her wrist with his left hand. "For operation?" he asks, trying to keep his voice steady. "Yes," Rachel replies with a devilish grin, pressing the knife to Sion's side. "It's an operation to liberate you." Sweat trickles down Sion's face as he asks, "Really?" Rachel frees her hand with a swift motion and slashes at Sion. He dodges, but not quickly enough, and a cut appears on his cheek. Staggering, Sion nearly falls, but manages to steady himself. Picking up 2 cans from the shelf, he remarks, "As expected, you're good at handling that weapon." With a flick of her wrist, Rachel deflects the cans he throws at her, her grin never wavering. She rushes towards him, taunting, "Get rid of that old woman, and you will be reattributed to the dead mansion. After all, you are the stuff of our dead mansion." Sion takes a deep breath, readying himself as Rachel prepares to attack with ferocious speed. "Let's go back to our house together, Sean," she laughs wickedly. In a last-ditch effort, Sion throws a sack of flour at her. Rachel slices through it with her knife, causing a cloud of flour to explode in the air. The white powder envelops her and she coughs, momentarily blinded. Damn it, he used flour! Amid the swirling fog of flour, a pair of scissors glints as it moves silently towards Rachel. Sion emerges from the flour fog like a phantom, scissors in hand. With a swift and precise blow, he cuts Rachel's cheek and slices a chunk of her hair off. Rachel's eyes widen in shock. Tension crackles in the air as the scene shifts to a thrilling showdown. On one side, there's Rachel, clutching her knife with a crazed gleam in her eyes. On the other side, our hero Sion, brandishing scissors in both hands like a pair of deadly dance partners. Sion lunges at Rachel, but she ducks just in time, narrowly escaping his attack. With a sinister smile, she taunts, "All right, Sean. That's the Sean I know." She counters with a vicious swing of her knife, but Sion deftly blocks it with his scissors, the metal clashing in a dramatic display of sparks. The scene was worth watching, pure cinematic gold. Rachel, now sweating with a mix of fear and adrenaline, tries to regain her composure. But before she can react, Sion rushes towards her and catches her off guard. In one fluid motion, he pulls her up and slams her into a shopping cart. Rachel glares at him angrily, her pride wounded. "So you want to take me home to my family? But who calls their family stuff?" Sion asks with a serious tone, eyes burning with intensity. Rachel, dazed and confused, struggles to make sense of his words. Sion kicks the shopping cart, sending Rachel careening into a row of other carts. The impact leaves her momentarily stunned. Seizing the opportunity, Sion locks her in place. Channeling his inner Geiger Chad, Sion turns to leave, delivering a final, cutting remark. "Then, if I am stuff, you are also stuff as well, right?" As he walks away, Rachel's furious yell echoes through the store. "Sean!" The scene shifts to Hyunho's mother, her heart melting as she sees the seemingly lost and innocent child. "Oh, poor child," she mutters, looking around anxiously. "Why aren't you with your mother?" Seizing the moment, the kid readies his hidden knife, preparing to strike. But just then, Sion appears out of nowhere, calling out, "Ma'am, are you okay?" Hyunho's mother, startled, turns to him. "Sion, isn't it time for you to be at school?" "Oh my, what's wrong with your clothes? Are you hurt?" The child quickly hides his knife, eyeing Sion warily. He thinks to himself, "That face. I'm sure. He's the legend of the dead mansion, Sean." He starts fake crying, hoping to throw off suspicion. The kid's mind races. Does Sean being here mean Rachel got beat? "Who is this kid?" Sion asks, his eyes narrowing. "I think he lost his mother," Hyunho's mother replies. "We should probably take him out for now, right?" Sion squats down to the child's level and asks, "Kid, do you know your parents' number?" "Number? I don't know," the kid sobs, but internally he's scheming. "Sean is a big variable for me. For now, I will aim for the next one." The child, putting on his best innocent act, moves towards Hyunho's mother. "Ma'am, please help me find my mom." Inside, he thinks, "Let's use motherhood feelings and approach the target again." Suddenly, Sion grabs the kid by the shoulder, lifting him effortlessly into his lap. "Hey, stop crying and whining like that, kid," he commands, his eyes narrowing dangerously. "Haven't you learned that excessively sticking out makes others hate you?" He places his finger like a gun on the child's neck, making the kid freeze in fear. "What?" the child thinks, terror evident in his wide eyes. "So stop it now. I think I should talk to your director directly. You have a direct line to communicate with him, right?" "I lost mine a long time ago," Sion says, his voice low and threatening. The kid starts sweating, stammering. "Huh? I don't understand what you are talking about." Sion, not buying the act for a second, gives him a quick karate chop on the neck. The knife falls from the child's hand with a clatter. "Huh? What was that sound?" Hyunho's mother asks, confused. "I don't know, I didn't hear anything," Sion replies smoothly. "Oh my, that kid fell asleep," she observes, concerned. "Yeah, maybe he was really tired," Sion says, a hint of sarcasm in his voice. "But where is his mother?" Hyunho's mother asks, still worried. "Oh, the kid has a phone. I'll call her," Sion says, picking up the child's phone. The scene shifts to the eerie silence of Dead Mansion. The phone's shrill ring pierces the quiet, jolting the father awake. Groaning, he mutters, "Damn it, who could this be this early in the morning?" Pulling on his clothes and draping them over his shoulders, he grumbles, "I told them not to contact me on the direct line." He picks up the phone, his annoyance palpable. "Hey, this better be good." A familiar voice, dripping with sarcasm, responds, "Hello, director." The father's eyes widen in shock. This voice, it's Sion. He smirks, exclaiming, "Sean, it's you." "But calling me through this line could only mean—" Sion, ever the calm yet mocking presence, replies, "You really sent me a gift, director. I guess you thought you could catch me with Rachel and a little boy." The father, cold and calculating, asks, "Are Rachel and Eugene dead?" Sion laughs. "What's up with your reaction? That hurts my pride. No matter how many people you send, the result will be the same. Feel free to come and see me." The father, now grinning devilishly, says, "I thought you did run away, but now you're saying you will face us? The Dead Mansion head-on?" Sion's voice turns icy. "Running away? No way. If there's a threat to the parents' personal safety, we should handle the situation. Based on the third principle, I consider your Dead Mansion a threat and will counteract it accordingly." The father, dropping to his knees with a sinister smile, murmurs, "Ah, Lord." He laughs maniacally. As expected, the gift from the Lord is pure and beautiful more than anything else. How can you be so faithful to the three principles? Then, calming down, he speaks, "Good, Sean. Then let's do this. Send Eugene back. Then I won't touch the old lady." Sion replies, "Okay, tell Aunt Rachel to come in an hour." The father, still smiling sinisterly, says, "Ah, Sean, how innocent you are. I hope to see you as soon as possible." We see Sion poke the sleeping kid. "Hey, kid, wake up, you brat." The child stirs, reaching for his knife. With a sigh, Sion says, "If you're looking for your weapon, I left it at that grocery store, so don't bother. Just eat that. You haven't eaten anything, right?" The child looks at the food skeptically. Who would eat this? But in the next moment, the food is gone. As Sion and the kid walk down the street, Sion asks, "But it's so tasty, right?" The kid, trying to act unimpressed, replies, "No, it's so-so." Sion taunts him, "Huh, really? But you ate it really well." They spot someone approaching. Sion says, "Ah, she's here." It's Rachel, her sinister look intact. With a sinister smile, Rachel commands, "Eugene, come here." Eugene, looking fearful, responds, "Yes." and starts moving towards Rachel, but Sion intervenes, handing Eugene the food packet. "Take this," he says with a warm smile. "You should eat well." Rachel, not hiding her irritation, tells Sion, "You are so relaxed, Sean. I am still not giving up on you yet." Rachel, with an icy glare, says while leaving, "We will meet again soon." Sion, exasperated, lets out a sigh. "Sheesh. Let the kid eat his food in peace." Rachel, her temper flaring, snaps at Eugene. "If you had just dealt with that old woman, Eugene, things would have been easier." Eugene, looking downcast, mutters, "I am sorry." Rachel's anger only intensifies. "For now, you are dismissed. This is why useless brats like you should have been disposed of a long time ago." Eugene, trembling, repeats, I am sorry." Suddenly, Sion steps forward, his voice breaking through the tension. "Hey kid, I am really asking you one last time. Is the tteokbokki not tasty?" Eugene turns around, his eyes brimming with tears. Unable to hold back any longer, he bursts into tears and sobs. "It's tasty." Sion, with a cold smile, replies, "Right, Hyunho's tteokbokki is really tasty. Then let's go there again, to Hyunho's snack bar." The scene shifts to a haunting flashback as the father's voice begins narrating with an ominous tone. "The ownership of the good children of the dead mansion belongs to the buyers, the parents. But if those parents die, the ownership reverts back to the dead mansion." We see young Eugene sitting quietly, a vacant look in his eyes. A woman approaches and gently says, "Eugene, from today onwards, I am your mother." Eugene responds obediently, "Yes." The father's voice continues, growing darker. "Then the child gets readopted and sent to a new family." Readopted to a new family? A new family? Now we see father and Eugene walking together. The father, with an air of frustration, asks, "Eugene, how many times has it been this time?" Eugene, holding up 4 fingers, says, "The 4th time." Father's temper flares. "I didn't ask you to answer, Eugene. Of course, we would continue to profit by sending you to new families." He spits out, his patience wearing thin. He bends down, placing a firm hand on Eugene's shoulder. "But you have failed to keep your parents alive 4 times. This is the worst disgrace in the history of our dead mansion. If this continues, we will have no choice but to dispose of you, Eugene. You know what happens to children who are disposed of, don't you, Eugene? You need to become someone necessary, so I will give you a chance. Go to Korea and help Rachel retrieve Sean. If you don't want to be disposed of, prove your value." The scene jolts back to the present. Rachel, her eyes blazing with anger, snaps, "From this moment on, you are disposed of, Eugene. This is why useless kids should have been gotten rid of long ago." Eugene is stunned, his mind racing. Disposed? Useless? No. I must prove my value. His voice trembling, he pleads, "Just one more. If you give me another chance." Rachel, her patience gone, retorts, "Chance?" Eugene, tears streaming down his face, says, I am sorry." But then Sion calls out, "Hey, kid." He asks with a warm smile, "I will ask you one last time. Did you not like the tteokbokki?" Rachel, sensing an opportunity, grins devilishly. "I will give you one last chance, Eugene." Eugene looks back, eyes wide. "Kill Sean's parent, that old woman." Eugene, torn between fear and desperation, glances towards Sion. "Last chance by last chance to prove my worth." He starts to cry, muttering, "Tteokbokki was delicious." But inside, he thinks, "I must kill Sean's parents." Sion, undeterred, tells Rachel, "So I must take that kid back." Rachel, with narrowed eyes, thinks, "Sean still perceives me as a threat. Then the 3rd rule still applies." Sion starts approaching them. Rachel declares, Wasn't it agreed that you would hand over Eugene to us in exchange for us not targeting that woman? Yes, Sion replies, but the kid just said it. Eugene looks bewildered. Sion continues, he said it was delicious. It's been a long time since we have had a regular customer, so it can't be helped. Rachel, frustrated, asks, is that how it's going to be? She leans in closer to Eugene and whispers, go, Eugene. This is your last chance. Eugene starts moving towards Sion, but Rachel warns, then negotiations are off, and I will target that old woman again. Do you understand, Sean? Sion, with unwavering confidence, holds Eugene's hand and says, do as you wish. I will break you into pieces over and over again. Eugene looks at Sion, seeing a figure of resolute determination. The scene shifts again. Sion, with a confident stance, repeats, that's what I said. Both of them are now sitting in Hyunho's mother's apartment. Sion, clearly annoyed, asks, but why are you here? Just then, Hyunho's mother enters with a warm smile. Why do you ask? Didn't you say you'd look after the kid for a day, Sion? Sion starts sweating, but still, coming to your house is a bit. Hyunho's mother interrupts. It's fine. Can you two even make a proper meal together? It's nice to have company too. By the way, it's really amazing. That kid's mother is a friend of your mother, Sion. Sion thinks, indeed, that is correct. Well, both of them are Aunt Rachel after all. Hyunho's mother says cheerfully, well then, stay over. There's no one at home anyway. Sion, hesitant, stammers, what? No, it's not necessary. Eugene bows his head politely and says, thank you, ma'am. Then I will be in your care. Inside, he thinks, I can't miss this opportunity. Hyunho's mother asks Eugene, right, what was I thinking? Kid, what's your name? Eugene, he replies. Sion, meanwhile, is worried, thinking, this is really overwhelming. Come to think of it, it's my first time here, at Hyunho's house. The scene shifts to Sion's attention, drawn to a closed door. He asked, is that Hyunho's room over there? Hyunho's mother nodded. Yes, that's his room. Why do you ask? Can I go in? Sion asked, his voice carrying a hint of something deeper, almost trance-like. Sion thought to himself as he opened the door, this is Hyunho's room. His thoughts continued. It was an ordinary room, the kind you often see in dramas or movies. A typical room where one dreams moderately and strives daily. A room that seemed to be soaked in the essence of a moderately happy family. A room that exuded such things. Perhaps that's why I have longed for it. For a family like Hyunho's, ordinary and typical. Hyunho should have been in this room. He could have been happy, spending his time normally and moderately. I should not have been a bystander. Meanwhile, Eugene, wiping his mouth with a cloth after eating, said, thank you for the meal, ma'am. But in his mind, he was scheming, with Sean gone, now is my chance. Eugene continued, especially the omelet was the best thing I have ever eaten. Hyunho's mother, with a gentle smile, interrupted, omelet? Do you mean rolled eggs? Eugene, trying to keep the conversation going, asked, by the way, if it's not too much trouble, I have a few questions. Sure, what are you curious about? Hyunho's mother responded. Besides your son, are there any other family members in this house? Like, for example, his father? Eugene inquired. Hyunho's mother sighed. How should I explain it? Hyunho's dad, you see. Unfortunately, he was needed so much in heaven that I had to let him go. Eugene, with a dark twist, said, someone necessary. He became a part of the family there. Yes, that's a nice way to put it. Hyunho's mother agreed softly. Suddenly, Eugene's tone shifted. But your son couldn't become part of any family anywhere. Hyunho's mother looked confused. What do you mean by that? She asked. A weak loser, a useless child can't become family anywhere, Eugene said, his voice filled with sadness. Hyunho's mother started sweating, her voice trembling. No, that's not what a family is, Eugene. Eugene, eyes downcast and voice tinged with sadness, says, a family is about fulfilling others' needs and confirming one's worth to its members. Otherwise, they are just obstacles that consume resources. Such a family member isn't needed. Hyunho's mother, eyes wide with disbelief, shouts and protests. No, that's not what a family is, Eugene. Eugene, looking genuinely confused, asked, "No, then what is it?" Hyunho's mother was about to respond, but Sion interrupted, picking up Eugene. "Have you finished eating, kid?" he asked. Sion then turned to Hyunho's mother. "Ma'am, can we sleep in the living room?" Hyunho's mother suggested. "Hyunho's room is empty. Why don't you sleep there?" But Sion, with a playful smile, looked at the sofa. "Oh, a sofa. This is good enough for me." "Kid, you sleep on the floor," Eugene protested. "I don't want to." As night fell, the scene shifted to Hyunho's mother's apartment. Eugene lay on the floor, annoyed, while Sion snored away on the sofa. Eugene thought, damn it, is he really going to make me sleep on the floor? His eyes then caught sight of the open door. Peeking through, he thought, strange, that old woman is strange. She calls a useless child family and even shows that kind of expression to someone she just met. I haven't proven anything. Eugene's mind drifted into a flashback, recalling the father's harsh words and contrasting them with Hyunho's mother's kindness. Then what is it? He pondered. Suddenly, driven by desperation, Eugene took out his gun, trembling. "I must prove," he whispered, pointing the gun at Hyunho's mother. "I must become a necessary family member." But just as he was about to act, a hand firmly closed the door. It was Sion, glaring at him with intense anger. "In the end, is this your decision, kid?" he asked, his voice laced with fury and disappointment. We see Eugene's hands trembling. I am just following orders," he stammers. Suddenly, Eugene points the gun at Sion and shouts, "So don't interfere." But Sion just stands there, as calm as ever. Suddenly, Eugene realizes his gun is empty. He starts sweating and asks, "Why are there no bullets?" That's when we see the bullets in Sion's hand. "That gun," Sion says, "did you get it from Rachel earlier?" He drops the bullets on the ground. "I took the bullets out while you were asleep." "Aren't you too careless?" Sion's expression turns cold. It's 15 rounds of 9mm parabellum that weigh 112.5 Eurian. You should have noticed that the magazine was empty when you held the gun. I guess you are still an amateur, huh? Eugene's face contorts with anger. He pulls out a knife and charges at Sion, but Sion catches his hand effortlessly and slams Eugene against the door. The door swings open, and Eugene quickly tries to move away from Sion. The two lock eyes, but Hyunho's mother is sleeping peacefully nearby. Sion gestures, putting a finger to his lips, and whispers, "Hey, just calm down for a second, okay? Shh." Eugene looks at Hyunho's sleeping mother and starts moving toward her with a knife. Sion, ever the quick thinker, grabs a tie and throws it at Eugene's feet, tripping him. Eugene falls flat on his face. He looks at his feet angrily, sees Sion holding the other end of the tie, and quickly cuts the tie with his knife. "Sean, about you." "I heard it right," Eugene says, glaring at Sion. Sion gives him a cold look. "Oh, look at you, staring so fiercely." Eugene, now standing on a table, leaps towards Sion with two knives, aiming for Sion's throat. But Sion, ever the cool-headed fighter, blocks the attack with the tie. Eugene tries to kick Sion in midair, but Sion blocks him effortlessly. Eugene starts sweating and asks, "What is it, Sean? Are you going easy on me?" Then, with a burst of rage, he charges at Sion, screaming, "Face me properly." But Sion just dodges the attack. Suddenly, Sion snatches the knife from Eugene's hand and says, "Fine, let's do it my way." In a panic, Eugene throws his second knife toward Hyunho's mother, but Sion swiftly deflects it. He strikes at Eugene's leg, causing him to fall. But before Eugene hits the ground, Sion grabs his collar and whispers, "Oops, we can't make any noise." With a cold look, he adds, "Come on, get up. We haven't even started yet." Eugene thinks, "Is he really this overwhelming? Is this the legendary Shaun of the Dead Mansion?" Sion continues, "Get up, kid. Your attacks are too straightforward." But then, out of nowhere, someone hits him on the head with a book. Hyunho's mother wakes up and asks angrily, "What are you two doing? Are you fighting right now?" Sion tries to convince her, "No, mother, it's not like that." But she cuts him off. "Not like that, huh?" Meanwhile, Eugene seizes the moment to pick up his knife, thinking, "Now's my chance." Sion, sweating but trying to play it cool, smiles and says, "Oh no, we weren't fighting. This is, morning exercises?" Eugene, spinning his knife like a fidget spinner, adds, Yes. This is also a toy." But internally, Eugene thinks, "I can't win. I can't kill that old woman with Shaun standing right here." Hyunho's mother looks skeptical and asks, "Exercises, really? Weren't you bullying him?" Sion laughs nervously. "Ha ha, no, we were just playing." Eugene, with a serious look, thinks, "A direct approach is impossible." Hyunho's mother turns to Eugene and says, "Eugene, you too." Eugene, sweating, asks, "Yes?" She replies, "You shouldn't mess around too much with your brother. We are family, after all." Eugene, confused, thinks, "They call me family again." He asks, "Family? Am I part of this family?" Hyunho's mother lovingly places her hand on his head and says, "Of course, we eat together, and we sleep under the same roof too. So, Eugene, aren't you practically part of our family already?" Eugene feels a pang of sadness as she pats his head lovingly. Just then, there's a knock at the door. "Is there anyone inside?" a voice calls out. Everyone wonders who could be there at this time. Hyunho's mother opens the door and asks, "Who is it this early in the morning?" A girl stands there and bows. "Hello, mother. I am sorry for coming so early. My name is Marie, Eugene's older sister." Marie smiles warmly. "You were a great help with Eugene last night, so I came to say hello." Sion, curious, asks, "Who is it, mother?" Hyunho's mother replies, "Oh, she says she's Eugene's older sister. She came by to pick him up." Sion, with an attitude and hands in his pockets, says, "Oh, really? Eugene's older sister?" He walks out and asks, "So, what brings you here?" Marie, with a devilish grin, whispers, "I'm here to take Eugene back and ensure that woman's safety. Wasn't that the agreement?" Sion whispers angrily, "Who ordered the little boy to kill her?" Marie replies, "Don't misunderstand, that was Rachel's unilateral order, and it was you who took them." Sion retorts, "Oh, really? Then why don't you start by putting that knife away first?" Marie smiles, "Wow, you are quick to notice, just as expected. If you cooperate willingly, nothing will happen." Sion mocks her, "Wow, that's scary. What happens if I don't cooperate?" Suddenly, Eugene exclaims with joy, "Sister, what took you so long?" The siblings hug each other. "Eugene, I am so happy to see you," Marie says. Sion, annoyed, mutters, "The siblings seem to get along well." Hyunho's mother adds, "Oh, I see." With a devilish grin, Marie whispers, "Eugene, unfortunately, you failed. The director will be very disappointed." Eugene, shocked, whispers, "Will the operation really be discarded now?" Hyunho's mother, oblivious, comments, Marie and Eugene come from a family full of pretty names. Sion sighs, thinking, this kid. Eugene, frustrated, whispers, what are you talking about? You have completely ruined my plan. Marie, confused, asks, plan? Eugene replies, it looks like you are an amateur. I was looking for an opportunity to ingratiate myself with this family. Marie, annoyed, asks, oh, are you going with that excuse? Eugene retorts angrily, an excuse? That's not it, Marie. This operation isn't that simple. That person is guarded by the legendary hand of the dead mansion. Sion, trying to manage the situation, tells Hyunho's mother, go inside first, mother. But she insists, no, I want to say goodbye to Eugene. Eugene continues, he may look unattractive, dumb, and have a monkey-like expression, but I have dealt with him myself. He is very strong. Marie adds, that's what I think too. Your description was especially accurate, Eugene. Sion, irritated, asks, hey, what are you looking at? Have you never seen a handsome man? Marie concedes, I am sorry, Eugene. I ruined the operation. I will admit it. She smiles. No worries, though. The new operation is already underway. Let's retreat for now, Eugene. Eugene, holding Marie's hand, agrees. Sure. As they leave, Hyunho's mother asks, oh my, are you going already? Marie bids farewell. See you next time, Sion. Eugene, turning his face, says, let's go. As Eugene leaves, Hyunho's mother calls out, hey, Eugene. Eugene, shocked, turns around. With a warm smile, she says, come again next time. I will make you an omelet. Eugene, surprised but smiling, replies, yes, understood. Sion, leaning against the wall with an annoyed face, hears Hyunho's mother suggest, Sion, come visit again with Eugene next time. I will make you something delicious again. With a reluctant sigh, Sion replies, okay, I will definitely bring him. The scene shifts to the school and we find ourselves in the principal's office. The principal, looking like he's just run a marathon, says, Hyunho's mother, I apologize for only saying this now. Sweat beads on his forehead as he continues. We had to go through the school violence committee to discuss the perpetrators and their punishments. So there was a bit of a delay. Nervously, the principal adds, the parents of the perpetrators have promised to compensate for the damages, and all the offending children will be suspended. With a sigh, Hyunho's mother responds, I see. The principal hands over a file to Hyunho's mother, his hands trembling slightly. These are the perpetrators. Would you prefer not to see them? He asks, voice wavering. But then Hyunho's mother freezes, her eyes wide with shock. She exclaims, why is his photo here? The principal, now sweating bullets, stammers, excuse me, what do you mean? Hyunho's mother, confusion etched on her face, demands, why is Sion's photo here? The scene shifts to the dimly lit and ominously quiet dead mansion. The father, an imposing figure with an aura of cold authority, grips his phone tightly as he speaks, his voice a low growl. How did this happen, Rachel? Rachel, sitting on a bed in a different room, looks visibly shaken. I have no excuse, Director, she replies, her voice trembling. Next to her, Eugene kneels on the floor, head bowed in shame. Rachel, trying to shift the blame, snaps. I ordered Eugene to kill that old woman, but honestly, she glances at Eugene with disdain. He is truly just a useless child. He could not even carry out a single order properly. The father's voice, now rising in anger, interrupts her. That's not what I am asking, Rachel. Rachel, caught off guard, stammers, pardon. I told you to retrieve Eugene and not to bother that old woman anymore. Instead, you ordered Eugene to kill her. The father's tone is icy, dripping with barely contained fury. Rachel, now nervously sweating, tries to explain. But the father cuts her off, pressing a cross he wears, his voice seething with anger. Aren't you the one who can't follow my orders properly? Rachel's nerves are palpable. It was for the retrieval of Sean, she pleads, the father touching the cross on his forehead as if invoking some higher power in tones. I hold promises in very high regard, Rachel. Before the divine, only faith and trust should exist. His expression shifts to a sinister smile. There must only be faith and trust before God. Everything else is heresy. Because there are children lacking in faith, we had no choice but to create the three principles as a means of control. Recall, Rachel, what were the consequences of unrestrained, spontaneous action have brought? Do you understand? Orders, director, promises, these are the absolute rules of Dead Mansion. Rachel, her head bowed in utter defeat, murmurs, Amen. But what about retrieving Sean? Are you really going to give up just like this? The father, now composed and eerily calm, reassures her. Don't worry about that. In Cora, Maria sits serenely, sipping tea, surrounded by a plethora of phones. Her fingers dance across the screens, sending messages at a rapid pace. Photoshopped images of Sion begin to circulate through various groups, each message meticulously crafted by Maria. As this happens, we hear the father's voiceover. There are plenty of ways to do it, even without directly touching that old woman. Maria has already started the operation. The scene shifts to Sion's school. Sion saunters into the classroom, yawning widely and scratching his head. The moment he steps in, the room falls into an eerie silence, every student visibly tensing up. Sion, oblivious to the sudden change in atmosphere, furrows his brow in confusion. What is going on? Why is the atmosphere like this? Is there an exam today? He grumbles to a nearby student, but the poor kid is too petrified to respond, merely shaking his head slightly. With mounting annoyance, Sion thinks, why is no one answering? His frustration is interrupted by three bulky boys approaching him, one of them holding his phone up with a look of sheer disbelief. Hey, Park Sion, is this for real? One of the boys asks. Sion, utterly bewildered, asks, what is? The fat boy thrusts his phone in front of Sion's face, displaying a poorly photoshopped picture of Sion strangling Yusuf. Sion squints at the image, his face a mixture of confusion and irritation. What the heck is this crudely photoshopped picture? He mutters. Where did you get this? The three boys glance at each other nervously before, to Sion's utter shock, bowing down before him in unison. We are sorry, Sion. We have been wrong all this time. Sion's jaw drops. What? He splutters. They say Yusuf was actually getting beaten up by you and was acting like your lackey, one of the boys exclaims. My lackey? Sion repeats, his eyes wide with disbelief. Another bulky boy shoves his phone under Sion's nose, exclaiming, Yeah, the rumor has spread throughout the entire school. They say Yusuf is scared of you and bows down to you. Sion thinks with growing annoyance. They believe this? Seriously? The boy continues, showing another photo of Sion posing with two gangsters. They even say you are friendly with gangsters. Hey, isn't this going too far? Sion thinks, exasperated. The boys babble on, and they say you ordered Yusuf to crush that kid Hyunho too. Sion's eyes widen further in nervousness. What are you talking about? He blurts out. That isn't true. I didn't do that. But no one in the room seems convinced. He sputters nervously. Hyunho was... It's not like that. Suddenly, one of the fat boys, emboldened by the rumors, strides up to Sion and says, Wow, Sion, you are seriously cool. Nearby students whisper nervously, My seat. The fat boy turns on a smaller student, his face twisting in anger. What do you Want, he snarls, raising his hand to slap the student. Do you want to end up like Hyunho too? But Sion, acting quickly, grabs the fat boy's hand, stopping him in his tracks. The boy looks confused, but Sion, thinking fast, decides to play along. With a dramatic sigh, he says, "Ha! I was really trying not to show off. Don't you know about my hidden power? Let's go outside. I will tell you the full story." The entire class is on edge, watching Sion with a mix of awe and fear. Sion walks out of the classroom with a guilty face, the fat boys trailing behind him. As they leave, Sion asks casually, "Oh, by the way, do you guys smoke?" "I don't, though." The fat boy, puzzled, replies, "Then why did you ask?" Back in the classroom, the students start to gossip. "I thought Park Sion wasn't that bad." Another student chimes in, "Well, they do say birds of the same feather flock together." The scene shifts to a rooftop where Sion is squinting at his phone, deep in thought. He glances at the three fat boys who are nervously fidgeting nearby. "So this photo was shared in the group chat early this morning?" he asks, arching an eyebrow. "Yeah, that's right," one of the boys confirms, nodding vigorously. "They first dropped the photo and then said a few things. But then they just left the chat." Sion looks back at his phone, contemplating. Was this a trick from Dead Mansion? But for what purpose? He muses internally. Switching gears, he adopts a dramatic tone and starts his theatrical act. Once again, I have been exposed. I wanted to attend this school quietly. I wonder if there will be any school willing to accept me after I transfer again. With a serious expression, he addresses the boys. "Listen up, friends. I want to graduate quietly. I don't want to get caught up in these childish pranks." He puts his hands in his pockets and starts walking with an exaggerated swagger. "The ones I have to deal with aren't kids like you. I am already looking at the world of adults." He makes a strange face as if pondering the weight of the world. "So make sure this matter doesn't spread any further. Keep it quiet at your end, crew." The boys, clearly influenced by Sion's bravado, exclaim, "We and Sion are a crew." One particularly enthusiastic boy shouts, "Don't worry, just tell us what to do, Sion." Unbeknownst to them, Yunho's mother is watching everything from a distance. She narrows her eyes in confusion. "Sion," she murmurs, recalling her meeting in the principal's office. Her mind flashes back to that tense conversation. In the office, she had shouted, "No, not Sion. That kid is Hyunho's friend. There must be some misunderstanding." The principal, sweating nervously, had tried to calm her down. "Well, ma'am, I also have this picture," he had said, showing her the photoshopped image. "He is already famous among the children. There's also testimony that he hung out with a friend named Yusuf. I am cautious about saying this, but I think this kid, Sion, is the instigator." Hyunho's mother had looked at the photo, disbelief etched across her face. The principal had continued, "From what I heard, it was hard to contact the parents of the kid named Sion. It seems that this kid didn't receive proper family education. From my experience as an educator, a child like this can easily go astray." Wiping his sweat, the principal had added, "That's why, ma'am, you shouldn't trust this kid that much." The scene shifts to Sion, descending the stairs with a devilish grin plastered on his face. He thinks, "I wonder if this will quiet down the rumors a bit." His grin widens as he continues. Those guys have a surprisingly naive side to them. Did they really fall for that? He chuckles to himself, savoring the memory of how he had made fools of the fat boys. Suddenly, Sion notices someone lurking behind the wall. He narrows his eyes and asks, "You said your name was Marie, right?" Marie, caught off guard, exclaims, "Oh, I thought I was hiding well, but I guess not." With annoyance, Sion retorts, If you were trying to hide, you should have erased that coffee smell first. This happened in front of Hyunho's house last time, too. Marie, impressed and slightly amused, exclaims, "Wow, in the meantime, you even catch a whiff of someone else's scent? I am feeling a bit upset." Sion, now irritated, starts undoing the rubber band from his hair. "So what do you want? Why are you doing this kind of thing, making things complicated for people?" Marie smirks. "You seem to enjoy it quite a lot, right?" She mocks Sion by saying, "The ones I have to deal with aren't kids like you, huh?" Sion's anger flares up, his expression darkening. Marie continues, "So, how do you feel? I made you the top bully at that school." Sion, now furious, stammers, "What? What? I wasn't excited at all. And wasn't I already popular to begin with?" Marie, with a devilish grin, responds, "No, it's not that. The cold and harsh gazes of the kids, or the eyes filled with betrayal and contempt. Didn't you like it, Sean?" she asks with a smile, her eyes twinkling with mischief. In utter confusion, Sion asked, "Oh, right, that photo. Was that your doing?" Marie, looking pleased with herself, responded, "How was it? Wasn't it very well made?" Sion scoffed, "Well made? I was surprised at how crude it was. Wouldn't that be enough to fool the general public?" Marie shrugged nonchalantly. "It can be crude, given the tight schedule and limited resources this time." With a sigh, Sion exclaimed, "That's quite a lot of excuses." Then, with an annoyed smile, he asked, "Scratch?" But before he could finish, Marie quickly reached into her bag. Sion's eyes widened as he realized her bag was a gun. She started shooting at him, but Sion, with cat-like reflexes, dodged the bullets. As the gunfire echoed, there was no relief in sight. "Are you out of your mind?" Sion shouted in anger. "Do you think you can just take out a gun whenever you want? Didn't you say you were going to retrieve me? What if I get hit and die?" With a smile, Marie replied, "You must be kidding. You can easily avoid this. That's the least I expected from you." With a mocking face, Marie added, "Die? It would be better if you were discarded." Sion noticed that Marie had run out of bullets. They both moved toward each other with intent. Sion suddenly grabbed Marie's gun, tightening his grip on it. He picked her up with the gun and slammed her into the wall. Marie attacked with her knees, but Sion blocked it. She then took out a knife and launched a slash at him, but he blocked that too. Sion started attacking Marie, taunting her. "Is this all you got? Has Dead Mansion really died?" He grabbed her by the throat and slammed her to the ground, making a fist. "I guess you didn't expect something like this, huh?" But then, to his surprise, Marie started laughing. She smiled suddenly and said, "That can't be true." Suddenly, someone shouted, "Sion, what are you doing?" Sion was shocked to see Hyunho's mother standing there, her face a mix of horror and disbelief. "What are you doing, Park Sion?" she asked, her voice trembling. "You shouldn't do that. You were supposed to be my Hyunho's friend." Marie smiled, savoring the chaos. Sion looked utterly confused as Hyunho's mother continued, "Was it really you who hurt my Hyunho?" All right, folks, that's all the chapters we've got for now. If you want to dive deeper into this madness, make sure to hit that subscribe button.